Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Dual Axis podcast. I have an incredible guest for you today. Heather Udo is the founder and CEO of Shoppable. She's a game changer in the e-commerce landscape, and in fact, she has 3 patents to her name for the technology that drives Shoppable. But I don't want to give anything more away, so let's start this conversation with Heather. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks so much for having me, Andy.
Yeah. Can you give listeners a brief overview of Shoppable, what it's all about, and what inspired you to start it?
Yeah, absolutely. So Shoppable, you can think about us like e-commerce infrastructure. Essentially, we created a large product catalog. We have 450 million SKUs from pretty much every brand or retailer you can imagine, from a Walmart to Best Buy, Bloomingdale's, Saks Fifth Avenue, Sephora, Ulta, etc. We have cataloged all of their inventory, and then we've connected in with their checkout, which allows us to, what we like to say is, bring the cart to the consumer. And essentially, it means that we can make anything, digitally speaking, shoppable. And that's, anything from ads to videos to TV to content, you name it. Even if it wasn't shoppable before, our technology can make it shoppable. And ultimately, to the second part of your question, why did I start it? As consumers, we all have a problem that we have pretty much 99% of us, based on our research, have experienced, which is we've discovered great products on social media, on a publisher site, from a creator, on TV, in content. We just have discovered great products and you cannot purchase them. And, there's so many instances where I would have bought something had it been shoppable, had you been able to do so easily, and didn't, because there was too much friction that exists. And that's what we found in the marketplace, is that there were just a lot of, literally billions of dollars of lost revenue because of the friction that exists from seeing something really cool and actually being able to purchase it. So that's really where the idea originally came from, and out of my own personal frustration as a shopper, trying to buy things that were not shoppable.
Yeah, that is super interesting. So it's kind of like it's running on a lot of websites and you have no idea that it is, basically, right?
Well, at this point, yes. Now we have all these different partners that are extending it out to their networks. We just started powering different TV commercials through our partners. But yeah, it's taking on a life of its own, which is really, really exciting.
And I have to ask you about the 3 patents that you have. What are those for? I guess you're allowed to say, right? Because they're patents, they're public, I assume, right? So what are they?
Yeah. So we actually have 4 now, which you wouldn't know because we haven't officially announced the 4th one, but it is publicly available. So the first 3 are all on universal checkout technology, which means, that with Shoppable's technology, not only do we embed the checkout and these buy buttons on other people's experiences, but the shoppers can purchase from one or multiple retailers while they're within a single purchase experience. So meaning, if I'm trying to get the look, I can add products that are available through Best Buy, products that are available through Walmart, add both to my cart, and then complete one purchase. Now that capability, the ability to buy from multiple retailers at one time and then license that out to other companies, that is what those 3 patents cover. So we're the only company in the US that can distribute this type of checkout to other companies. And then, which is super exciting. And, we were able to get that.
That is absolutely crazy.
I know a lot of people are like, no way you have a patent on this. I know. I mean, it was, the benefit, I would say, of really not just being early to the space, but creating a new space. So those are the first 3. And then the 4th one just issued about 2 weeks ago. And I can't go into too much detail about the what we're going to be doing with it, but at a high level, I can disclose that it is what we refer to as a traveling cart and a traveling checkout. So that's some new technology that will be more publicly announced soon.
So what made you think, you know what, I should patent this?
One of our early investors is a lawyer
Okay.
and essentially was like, this is one of those ideas.
Protect yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, he said very, very early on that this is one of those ideas that as soon as people hear about it, they're like, why didn't I think about that?
Right.
I should have thought about this. This seems so obvious. And he said, because of that, he's like, you better patent this, because once people hear about it, they're going to jump on the bandwagon and try to create it too, and take the idea. So for that reason, and to me at the time, I remember having a conversation thinking like, oh my gosh, it's so early. They're like, no one even knows about this, and it's like, we're still just having conversations with the retailers, convincing them that this is a thing and that this can help them. And, but he was persistent that we needed to file it early. So we decided to do so.
Plus, it's pretty cool to say that you have a patent as well.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I think as, an entrepreneur, to also have the title of like inventor, and I think there's something just really cool and a little nerdy about it that I love.
I assume that kind of helps you in the sales process though, as well, right? If you go into a retailer and say, hey, we've gotten this patented technology that could do X, Y, Z, then surely that helps get you in the door.
It does on kind of both sides of our marketplace, because for the companies that license the technology, of course, they always ask, who are your competitors? Who else is doing this? And I know a lot of companies always say, I have no competitors, no one else can do it. But when we say no one else can do it, we really mean it. And we can back that up with the patents. And then, on the other side, for the merchants, in order to work with Shoppable, one of the things that we do for them is we integrate their product catalog and we integrate their checkout into the technology, and we help them create all these other shoppable experiences. But it's a single integration into us, and then we can unlock each one of those new platforms for them that they need. And what's kind of cool about the patent in regards to for the retailers is, in our conversations with them, many of them said, this is really interesting. We feel like this is going to be an important thing for us to do, but we don't want to do this with like 20 different companies. We want one. So who's the one company that's going to win at this space? And then we'll partner with them. And, and once at the beginning, they were like, well, we don't know for sure if you guys are going to be the one company. But as soon as that patent was officially granted, it was like, no, we are that one company. Yeah. And now, now you have that. Exactly. Yeah. So that's the other side of it too.
So if I run an e-commerce website and I want to start using Shoppable, is it just plug and play? How does that work?
Mm-hmm. It depends what you want to do. So if you have your own website, you can use Shoppable for a couple different things. Mm-hmm. One is essentially as a marketing channel. So the simplest way for a direct-to-consumer brand or retailer to work with Shoppable is to connect in their inventory into Shoppable's catalog. So that catalog that I mentioned, and then we can make their products shoppable. So meaning that we become a distribution partner for them. So you think about all of our other partners making content shoppable, those brands should want to have their products in our catalog, because we can't make their stuff shoppable if it's not in our catalog. So that's the simplest way for them to work with us. We don't even charge for it. We probably should, but we don't. It's free to integrate that way with us. And then the other way that a brand, a D2C brand, can use our technology is with their media campaigns. So there's kind of within the media campaign, there's kind of two use cases. One is when they're working with channel partners. So it used to be if you were D2C, you didn't also sell retail. But over the last few years, we started to see a lot of the D2C brands that then started going to retail, selling in retail. Now they want to make sure their sell-through is looking good for their retail partners. And, so they can use Shoppable to curate their products through whatever their retail channels are. So if they're electronics, could be Best Buy. If it's beauty, it might be Alton. or Target. And then when they drive their campaigns, they drive it to a shoppable landing page with our technology. And then their shoppers can purchase within that one page, even then the products get fulfilled through, let's just say, Target and Ulta in this use case. And that means that brand can still control all of the data. They can still track all of the efficacies of their campaign, add to carts, purchases, consumer data, and they know how the total amount of revenue that and total products sold that their marketing efforts have had on their channels. So without shoppable technology, that type of D2C brand would just be sending the traffic directly to a retailer site, but then it's a black box, and they don't get that feedback. They also don't know which of their campaigns are working and which ones are not. So I would say that's one use case for them. And then the other use case is for, potentially with co-marketing efforts with another brand or with a creator where they wanted to have a quick and easy way to launch a microsite without affecting their whole, main D2C branded website. And both of these things you can set up in as little as 20 minutes. So it's very, very simple and turnkey.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to work in price promotion optimization at Coca-Cola, so I love all the cross branding. And
Yes.
Can you guess what the number one product is? Let's say we're in a CVS or a Walgreens. What do you think the top cross-selling product is with Coca-Cola?
Oh,
You probably won't guess it, but
gum? I don't know.
no, Jack Daniels.
No.
Even if it's an area where Pepsi sells more, when people buy Jack Daniels, they buy Coke. They don't do Pepsi and Jack. It's always it's Jack and Coke, not Jack and Pepsi, right? So,
for sure.
Which I always found fascinating because it's, these are drugstores. They're supposed to be healthy and all that, and yet Coke and Jack Daniels are.
Didn't even know they sold Jack. Okay.
Some of them do. Yeah, it depends on the state. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
I just thought that was really. I remember finding that insight, and I was like, "Now that is interesting." Unfortunately, Coca-Cola doesn't cross-sell with alcohol brands, but maybe they should.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they should.
So if I'm a new brand and I want to get, it feels to me like I could leverage the scale of Shoppable and the I guess the weight of other brands to kind of get my product associated with those. Is that kind of the idea for people that are up and going?
Yeah, in some cases, like I'll give you an example. We have two direct to consumer companies using Shoppable's Instant Shop product right now, which is kind of our mini storefront. One is a handbag company, and the other is an apparel company, selling t-shirts and jeans and things like that. And they both have their own D2C shops built, but how they're using Shoppable is to create this co-branded instant shop where they had plans to do all this co-marketing, but we're trying to figure out, well, we don't really want to be sending our traffic to two different locations. And so how do we have a solution where we're all sending our traffic to one place and people can buy a piece of the clothing and one of the handbags or wallets or something at the same time? So they're using the Instant Shop solution for that. Both can be bought together within one, not just one domain, but within one checkout too.
That's like, I am like blown away by the stuff that you're doing. I had no idea that it was this deep, but you also take away the burden of fulfillment. Is that right?
Correct.
So how does that all work?
Yeah. So we essentially handle, we don't touch any of the products. We say we have 450 million products, but no inventory. So all of that is connected in through our partners. We're completely, retailer agnostic.
Right.
But for companies like, for example, Shoppable powers Revlon.com.
Okay.
Now, Revlon's a brand everybody's heard of. You can go in many drugstores and purchase it there, but they're not a direct consumer brand. They only sell in the retail channels. So, they're using Shoppable to essentially make Revlon.com look like a direct-to-consumer experience. But when you kind of browse around their site, you'll be adding to your cart. And then once you open up your cart, you'll see, ships from Walmart or ships from.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I've seen that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So then it's transparent to the shopper, but the products are actually being fulfilled by those retail channels. So
Right.
for Revlon, they have this very lightweight direct to consumer like experience, but without, the headache of actually and expense of actually launching a direct to consumer experience and having to handle fulfillment of the order.
Yeah.
And also creating a channel conflict with their retail partners. So this lets them really solve all of those channels or all of those challenges without having to have the expense of it.
Oh, wow. There's so much opportunity for any size brand to take advantage of that. And I guess you're taking advantage of the companies that have the scale to do the shipping at a really low cost.
Mm-hmm.
Is kind of what you end up doing there. Yeah.
Exactly. And some, there's a non-perishable food brand. I won't say who it is, but they were, considering, they were having internal debates. Do we launch direct to consumer or do we use Shoppable's D2C Lite solution? And what, the D2C site team was essentially saying, we want all the control. We want to be able to get the data, those types of things, which Shoppable also provides them with. But they wanted complete control, be able to manage the inventory directly, those things. And then, the other side was like, look, we know how to ship, pallets of our products. We know we have the processes and the relationships in place to distribute a full pallet full of their product. I don't want to provide details because it'll give away who it is. But they can send these pallets to their retail channels. They said, we have no idea how to send a single box of this product. And to do so that makes financial sense for the business. And, but again, the retailers know how to do that. And they have set up, these complicated systems of where they're, all the different warehouses that they have, where they're shipping from, how they're getting the products, last mile connected in. And all of that's already been sorted out from their retail channels. So why overcomplicate it by saying, well, we should go direct to consumer, and then we'll just figure out all these other things that our retail partners have already figured out.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be cost effective for them to do so.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's another way that they're using Shoppable without having to hold inventory and actually fulfill.
Okay. So I've got a question for you then. I'm going to take you through my mom's business. So my mom and my sister run a business where they sell gourmet pretzel nuggets. And so they have a fulfillment, or not a fulfillment center. They have a, what the heck's it called? The people that make the product for them. I don't know why I can't think of the name right now. A co-packer. They have a co-packer that they use now, right? And then if somebody buys something through their website, they fulfill it themselves. So should they be taking advantage of something like Shoppable?
That's a good question. They could for certain aspects. Like we wouldn't compete with like the front end of, I don't know if they're using Shopify or BigCommerce or something like that. We wouldn't provide kind of those traditional e-commerce experience on their website.
Right.
But they could use Shoppable to help with their distribution. And they could also use it to create kind of more native and integrated social media campaigns as well. So I don't know if they're doing a lot within, TikTok or Instagram, things like that. But one of our Instant Shop solution makes it really easy for brands to embed both either a YouTube video or TikTok videos throughout. And then that is just a really natural shopping experience when brands like that are working with creators, and then you're trying to get the traffic from being in TikTok in the app, and the user is really in scroll mode, and then you're trying to take them out of that to purchase. So with Instant Shop, they would essentially have their TikTok ad where they either created the branded content on their own, they worked with the creator, and then the user would link from that to an instant shop where we embed that TikTok video again. So we're kind of keeping it top of mind in that more seamless transition to where they can then purchase those products again. So I would say that's another use case that they could be using it for.
Yeah, I'm going to connect you with my sister for sure.
Okay, great. I would love that.
See, maybe you'll make some business out of this interview. Yeah. So as a founder of, you're the founder and CEO of Shoppable. What have been some of the biggest challenges you've faced, and what have you learned from them?
Ooh. Oh boy. There's so many challenges. I mean, it's a roller coaster, as I'm sure you know. I would say early, when I kind of think about the earlier days, some of it, I would say one was underestimating timing of the marketplace. I think without a doubt, I was confident that this is where the market was going, and 12 years later, I'm still confident about the market. But I would say that at the time, I underestimated how fast companies would move, especially these big companies, because, to entrepreneurs, we look to solve problems, and we're so quick to be like, okay, here's the solution. I can do this. And then we remove all the points of friction, right? Because we want to get something launched. We want to get things going. And it seemed, I underestimated how long it would take someone else to grasp the idea and actually move forward with it from a partnership standpoint. And I would say, so things move slower in the beginning than I would have estimated. So I would say that would be one. Another one that I would say is around launch partners. So at the beginning, it was important to me to find a paying launch partner that would be willing to put their money where their mouth is and say, yes, I see value in this, and I want to be your launch partner. And I would say for entrepreneurs listening, always have multiple launch partners. That was one of the lessons that I learned, because the first company that said we want to be the launch partner, and they were really excited about what we're doing, and they were, this is a big company, and they had, like, at one point, I think I counted 26 people in a room with around a large boardroom table. So I was convinced they were going to be the launch partner. They had all these resources, and I thought there's no chance that they weren't going to be. So anyway, I put all my eggs in their basket. And, sure enough, things changed internally. People, some people left and things like that. Priorities changed, and they couldn't be the launch partner. So I had lost probably 9 months of time working into details, because we were also, building some of the features, working really closely with them as the early customer. So I would say that was, to some respects, it was a mistake to not have multiple launch partners, knowing that there's a chance always that something comes up and you just don't want to rely on just the one. So I would say that's another piece of advice for anyone listening.
That's great. Yeah. So what can we expect from Shoppable in the coming years? I know you've got your new patent coming out, which you can't tell us a whole lot about yet, but anything exciting that coming up you can give us a sneak peek into?
I can. Yeah. So we have really been primarily in the US, Canada, and UK. But my team has been working really, really hard for Shoppable to expand globally. So I'm very, very excited. We are launching first in Germany in about 2 weeks. I can't announce who our partners are, but we will be officially in Germany. Yeah. And what's that?
Big market.
Yeah, huge market. So we're excited to be in Germany, open that up. And then my engineering team has built our technology in a way that makes it easier for us to expand to any additional market. So we have a lot of other things in the pipeline that we'll be doing to expand globally. So anyone listening that could use the technology, it officially does not matter what country you're located in. And we've had so much demand in the past, and we've had to turn it away because our tech was just not ready for that. Yeah. But now it is.
So when you started Shoppable, it was just you, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And how long has Shoppable been around, and how many people do you have in your company now?
We've been around 12 years and
Okay.
we are about 25 people.
Oh, okay. So still quite small.
Yeah. Oh, the team's relatively small. We
Right.
are
Okay. I was
lean and
expecting a
mean.
much higher number than that.
I
Yeah.
know. I'm sure most people are. Most people are completely shocked when they see what we're doing with a lean team. But then again, like I think Instagram, when they were bought by Facebook, I think their team was 8 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was at
And
Facebook when that happened.
yeah, exactly. So it just kind of depends on what you're doing. I mean, when we have, unlike other companies, we haven't gone the route of raising, VC round after VC round after VC round. And so we've kind of grown and operated on our own. And yeah, and it's been great. And it's good to be able to do that and be a freestanding business that isn't always thinking about that next venture round and having to please investors. And we can focus on what do our customers want and what does the market want.
I guess you've got complete control over the company then.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. So stay away from VC if you can.
Yeah, for sure.
Great. Well, for those that are interested in working with you, working with Shoppable, what's the best way for them to learn more?
Yeah, I would say on LinkedIn, we have a Shoppable page there. You can find me at Heather Udo. And then also on Instagram, we're pretty active. Shoppable's handle is at Shoppable, and mine is at Heather Marie Udo.
Great. And I will put a link to all of those in the description for this video. Heather, thank you very much for taking the time. I've learned a lot about Shoppable. I had no idea how massive it was. And I feel really honored to speak with you and to speak with somebody with 4 patents. I mean, that's really cool. So
thank you so much for having me.
All right.